A US MQ-9 Reaper drone has been shot down by Houthi rebels off the coast of Yemen. According to the US, the MQ-9 Reaper drone was operating in international airspace when it was shot down by Houthi rebels in Yemen. It's not the first time the Houthi rebels have shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper drone. They did it in 2017 inside the northern territory of Yemen that they control. This time around, they shot down the US MQ-9 Reaper drone off the coast of Yemen. It's not clear how far off the coast they shot it down. Who knows how the US will respond to this incident directly to the Houthi rebels in Yemen. In the meantime, the US conducted an airstrike in eastern Syria. They targeted a warehouse suspected to be holding weapons from Iran, and the after explosions that occurred after the airstrike shows they really hit something. In recent weeks, the US warships sailing in the Mediterranean have shot down several cruise missiles and drones over the Red Sea. These are targeted at Israel by the Houthi rebels. Israel themselves shot down one in the upper atmosphere. The US have also hit sites of Iran-backed militias in Syria in retaliation for attacks on US bases in Syria and Iraq. In fact, since October 17th, 10 days after the Hamas attack in Israel, US and coalition forces have come under attack about 40 times in Syria and Iraq. These are definitely footprints of Iran, and they will never attack the US or coalition forces directly because they know that their retaliation will be fierce. They know they will seize the opportunity and knock out their capabilities. They might even target their uranium enrichment facilities where they are seeking to develop nuclear capabilities. Will Iran give them the chance on a platter? It doesn't look like they will, but you never know. These guys play dangerous games with a lot of rhetorics, but they know what will be coming if they ever attack them directly. They also believe that they can use hostages as leverage. Let's hear what the Iranian politician thinks they should do if they are ever attacked by any of the world superpowers.
گزینه نظامی بر علیه ایران همه ابرقدرت‌ها مثلا گزینه نظامی بر علیه ایران جواب نمیده. البته همش توان قدرت ما نیست که اون بخش عمدهشه. بله ما الان سلاح‌هایی داریم که آمریکا هم نداره، کشور بزرگ هم ندارن به این خوبی، اما تو منطقه ما از قدرت‌هایی که احتمال داره به ما حمله بکنن گروگان‌هایی داریم که ظرف نیم ساعت یک ساعت گروگان‌ها رو از بین میبریم. انشاءالله موقعش هم بشه یه وسیله فراهم بشه که این کارو بکنیم.
His position is not surprising, and he is obviously talking about the United States because they are the only true superpower in the world. Of course, he mentioned the US directly. It is only the US that can project power anywhere in the world. No other country can do it. Did he talk about a weapon that they have that the US doesn't have? Is this a political campaign? Iran is very much aware of the enormous power and strike capability of one of US carrier strike group. Even one submarine can do a lot of damage to a country as huge as Iran. They know this. That's why they work through proxies. In some cases, they even send their Revolutionary Guards commandos to do the work themselves in the countries they support. Israel announced recently that some of the Revolutionary Guards Corps members are already present in Lebanon. They've embedded themselves with their proxy, Hezbollah. Despite this, the Israelis are not fazed. They promise to deal with any threat that will arise from Lebanon. Over the past few weeks, there have been skirmishes on Israel's northern border, which has led to the evacuation of some communities in the area and Israel closing it off as a military zone. The shooting down of the MQ-9 Reaper drone is a form of escalation by the Houthi rebels. Are they trying to drag the US into a conflict in the Middle East? Since they claimed responsibility for this, are they trying to say that the MQ-9 Reaper drone violated their airspace, and as such, it's within their rights to shoot it down? The MQ-9 Reaper drone costs about $30 million a piece. It is manufactured by General Atomics. Its highest flight altitude is 50,000 feet. Endurance is up to 27 hours in the air. The MQ-9 Reaper is definitely not for sale to every country like other US military equipment. Only countries that are considered close allies to the US can buy them. They include the United Kingdom, France, Netherlands, Italy, India, and others. The MQ-9 Reaper is an unmanned aerial vehicle that is very useful for surveillance. It is controlled from a ground station that can be located very far away from its operating zone. This reduces the risk to the controllers. Unlike a fighter jet, when a pilot flies into a hostile territory and it is shot down, like in the case of this drone, the only thing he can do to save himself is to eject from the aircraft, but he will still land in the hostile territory. So the Reaper basically makes the pilots that are flying it from the ground base invincible. Shooting down a flying object needs precision, and Iran's capability through the Houthi rebels to shoot down drones and other aircrafts with great precision should worry many countries in the Middle East, and they are bragging about it.
وستزيد صواريخنا كثافة على أهدافه الحيوية والحساسة وعلى الأمريكي أيضا، وبالتالي لن يكون وجوده في المنطقة آمنا طالما أن صواريخنا وطائراتنا المسيرة قادرة على الوصول إلى تلك الأهداف وإلى تلك السفن والبوارج المتواجدة في البحر الأحمر أو في غيره. كل ما يمكن أن يكون مؤثرا وكل ما يمكن أن يسبب الوجع لهذا الكيان يمكن أن يكون ضمن قائمة بنك الأهداف للقوات المسلحة اليمنية. وبالتالي
Yemen is a very poor country, but they seem to have sophisticated weapons. Imagine if they used 10% of the money to feed their people and develop their country. This is why countries around Yemen should be worried, especially Israel, although they have the Arrow missile defense system that can intercept and destroy missiles in the air or even above the atmosphere. But like all missile defense systems, it can be overwhelmed. It's not easy for the computers in the missile defense system to track thousands of missiles, calculate their trajectories, and fire missiles to intercept them one by one. The more the missiles, the more the system will be overwhelmed, including the radar system. It's faster to fire missiles than to intercept them. It's just a matter of pushing a button. The only way to get around this is to target the source of the missiles, the launch sites. That will slow down the incoming missiles rather than depending on intercepting them. That's exactly what the IDF does in Gaza. They don't sit back and rely on the Iron Dome to intercept all the rockets that Hamas fires into Israel from Gaza. They also knock out the launch sites in Gaza using drones like the MQ-9 Reaper and fighter jets. All these are coming after Israel announced that they've destroyed 130 Hamas tunnel shafts.
זה מצברים שמשמשים את האויב לחיבור בעצם מסנני אוויר לתת-קרקע.
These shafts connect Hamas tunnel network in the Gaza Strip that is estimated to run a few hundred kilometers underground. The Israeli soldiers operating in Gaza have discovered oxygen and water storage tanks in the tunnels, which probably proves that Hamas plans to stay underground for a very long time. That will mean that the hostages are probably underground with them in the deepest parts of the tunnel. They must be going through a lot. Children, the elderly, also Gaza civilians that are caught up in the crossfire. It is a very difficult situation. About 50,000 people evacuated from northern Gaza today, and some 8 trucks entered the area to deliver the very much needed help. Hopefully, this will end quickly so that people's lives can go back to normal. Or maybe Hamas can just end it now by releasing all the hostages. The more they hide with the hostages underground, the more Israeli soldiers dig and discover their tunnel infrastructure in search of the hostages. There are reports of talks between US and Israeli officials with their Qatari counterparts on a hostage deal. If the deal works out, Hamas will release about 20 hostages in exchange for a 3-day pause on hostilities that will also allow the delivery of more aid into Gaza. It remains to be seen if the deal will work out. Israel has said in the past that they will not pause until Hamas releases all hostages. The problem is, can they find the hostages themselves inside the tunnels? The more they dig, discover, and destroy the tunnel shafts, the more they endanger the lives of the hostages. These Hamas operatives are unpredictable, except Israel now considers the hostages more or less like casualties. If that's the case, it explains why they are going hard on Hamas. On the other hand, the Mossad director and the CIA director wouldn't be directly involved in hostage negotiations with the Qatari officials. Anyway, these are trying times for everyone involved. It's a very difficult situation. The hostages, their families, Palestinians living in Gaza who've got nowhere to run to. Thanks for watching.
מצאנו פה עמדה של שיגור של רקטות, כנראה מחולק לשתיים של 5 ו5. אפשר לראות כאן כל הרקטות כבר נורו, מכוונים לכיוון צפון, בתוך שטח הארץ. זה החשמל, והחשמל הזה נכנס עד לתוך המבנה הזה, שהוא בעצם מסגד שממנו מפעילים את הרקטות.